Hi, we're back. KHTS AM 1220, My Doc Dukov show. We're discussing opioids today and also interactions between opioids and other drugs that we may find in our medicine cabinet way too easily these days.
Yeah.
So let's just jump back into what you were saying.
We were talking right before our break there that when you mix these medicines, like the anxiety medicines, the sleeping medicines, they're narcotics, the opioids, your breathing decreases, stops breathing. So you're really sleeping deeply. Matter of fact, they've done studies on that, and the old people, the seniors, and the older adults, they stop breathing faster, and the young people wake up faster, so they have less deaths there. The deaths that we have, and we have a lot of people die every day from opioids.
Wow. So is there an age related to that?
We have 2,400 people a month die from opiate overdose, so that's 3,000 a year or something like that.
Well, of all ages.
30,000 a year, of all ages, yeah. But so it's a real problem.
And just of opioid use or of opioids mixed with other things?
With the cocktail, you know.
The cocktail.
The mixture of the alcohol, the anxiety/sleeping medicine,
Right.
and the narcotics.
Okay, now let's discuss this a little further. So it doesn't mean you're taking them all at the same time. I think what you're also talking about are people, you have a pill to go up and a pill to go down, and you take a pill throughout the day to keep you going in the meantime. So all of these interactions are happening in your body because of something called half-life. Can you explain that?
Well, half-life is the term of how long before the medicine
Dissolves
or decreases in your bloodstream by 50%. That's why they call it half. So
In other words, half the life of the benefit of the drug in your body.
That's
basically,
right.
half
It wears
the
out.
use
It
of
wears out. How fast does it wear out the 50% or use up or dissolve? And if you add that 50% to some other medicine that's 100%, then you have 150%, and you add something else to that, it makes it so it makes it very, very sick.
So what you want to do, if you're taking multiple drugs and you're not necessarily addicted to any of them, but there are things that you can't really live without at the moment, you're functioning on them. As I said, there's a spectrum of people we're discussing today that are not necessarily full-on addicts, but that we function with these things and get them all too easily. What you want to do is recognize the half-life of each drug, and how you do that is you could probably look them up or speak to your provider, speak to your doctor, and see how long the effects are. So a half-life of like Xanax is 4 hours, isn't it? Okay. Half-life of Vicodin Okay, so Vicodin, the full effects are about 4 hours. So a half-life would be around 2. You want to know these things because if you're taking these, say that for instance, let me just use me as an example. Not that I take Xanax or Ambien, because I take Ambien if I'm on an airplane,
Right.
but I don't actually take it like to go to sleep. But let's just like pretend, okay, let's use this case study. I wake up and I'm on my period. So I'm going to take a full 5 milligram Vicodin, okay? Half-life of that is about 2 hours. So the full effects of that Vicodin are 4 hours long, like the full effect, right?
Right.
It starts to dissolve in my body after 2 hours. Around the 3 hour mark, maybe I'll start to feel a little crampy. I'm not going to go for another one. I'm going to go for like an ibuprofen.
You want to add something different in.
I want to add something lesser and different because that drug is still in my body.
Right.
So if you're going to take another one, all you're doing is getting your body more used to the effects of the hydrocodone with the acetaminophen, and you're going to need more the next time you have a full-on cramp and need that pill. So you would want to go less, not more.
That's right.
But then
different.
most people do the opposite. They go for more. They'll take another half or they'll take whatever. So you want to be aware of how long that drug is going to be in your body interacting with your system prior to its death. Like its dissolvingness, like is what we're talking about. That half-life. So later on, that same person will take an Ambien to go to bed
Right.
at like 8 o'clock at night.
And they might have gone out for dinner that same night, had cocktails.
And had wine. Okay, so you're mixing alcohol barbiturates into it.
All that together in that pain medicine, insomnia, stress, alcohol cocktail.
Or just a glass of wine over dinner. Let's just talk about like very normal, basic. Talk about like the basic person right now that just has these pills in their medicine cabinet that are not suffering from some heavy trauma. They're not trying to escape some
Let's say
pain.
it's somebody who works very hard and they hurt their back and they get home.
There you go.
Get home from work, take a shower, take the pain medicine.
There you go.
And
then
then
has a whiskey.
Then they go out for dinner and they have 2 cocktails. They finally get home and he has to get up early in the morning, so he takes an Ambien or some kind of sleeping pill or stress pill. Those are the patients that really have problems.
That's what we're talking about. And you know what? That's the majority of
They
people.
just stop breathing.
That's the majority of people. This is who we're discussing today, because this sounds pretty normal, doesn't it?
That's
that
right.
guy that has some back pain and takes that, he's prescribed some opioid.
Many times a regular. I was talking to him over the break about a patient I had. The same thing happened. She just had, a mixture of drugs, and she just had one too many drink or one too many pill or something, and she just didn't wake up.
Yeah, this kind of show really highlights it for me, because there have been times, like, you're on an airplane. What do? I have my meal. I have 2 glasses of wine. I take that Ambien. You're interacting these 2 combinations that are lethal, actually.
Right.
They're lethal.
Well, I had another patient that used some Vicodin, and he went on an airplane to go back to New Jersey, takes a sleeping pill. He lands. They can't wake him up. He's dead. He died somewhere between here and New Jersey.
Wow. Also, because when you're in the air, you have
You're
your breathing is.
You're the same as the Denver. You're at least mile high. The hotel. I mean, the airplane's pressurized at 1 mile. You're really at 30,000 feet. That's 6 miles, but they're at 1 mile. So the medicines work differently. The oxygen
everything works differently in your body at that altitude, and also you're breathing differently.
Right.
You're not taking in the same amount of oxygen in the same way. So maybe that's okay. Carrie Fisher passed away on an airplane.
Oh, that's right. She had a heart attack, though, I thought.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know what
I
she
don't
did,
know if they'd ever related that to any of her past drug abuse.
Right.
So, do you know anything about, like, when somebody goes into rehab, they've, kicked the habits and they've gone clean, but the effects of that abuse stay with them for life?
Well, there's brain damage, and like even when Tylenol kills off the liver, there's a lot of things that happen that you don't mean to happen when you're going through rehab.
No, you're killing a lot of chemicals in your, not chemicals, you're killing a lot of brain chemistry.
Right.
Killing a lot of little neurons in there.
Because unfortunately, there's a very thin line between the right amount of medicine and what causes damage.
Well, can you explain that today for some people who may be listening and are interested in that?
Because, if you're giving some medicine for the pain, and like I said, the medicines have Tylenol in them, like the most common ones have Tylenol built into them, and you start taking those, and then you start having a side effect from the Tylenol, and you're really there for back pain. And we never know about the liver damage until later.
And I hear that liver damage is mainly linked to alcohol. But is there another kind of drug?
That's Tylenol.
Just basic Tylenol.
Tylenol. That's why Vicodin reduced the number of milligrams, and that even over-the-counter Tylenol is smaller now than it used to be.
That's why they made Norco then.
Well, Norco has
less Tylenol.
No,
more
Vicodin
Tylenol.
has less Tylenol.
Okay.
Norco is more. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the amount of prescriptions of narcotics have doubled in the last 10 years, and the number of written prescriptions.
Wow. Why is that?
Well, I guess it's the doctors. They're writing bigger prescriptions. Myself, if somebody comes up with a twisted ankle, I give them pain medicine for a week, and if it's not better, I have them come back, and then we'll address what to do for it. But some people, I see these prescriptions, they walk in, and the doctor gave them 90 pills of a pain medicine for a twisted ankle, and those extra medicines go somewhere.
Okay, talk to me about politics now. Why are they doing this? What's one component?
Politics?
Well, the FDA runs the country. The FDA then runs the pharmaceutical companies. The pharmaceutical companies run the insurance companies. The insurance companies are what pay these doctors. So everything's run by money these days, and it's a whole big machine, and we are getting sucked into it.
It's a big machine. But I think that, before we had the Vicodins, and we used to use Tylenol with codeine. And that was a good medicine. We don't use it much anymore, except for maybe in cough syrup. And, what these newer medicines, they're on the board, and the doctors get presentations about why they should use it. And
why they should use what?
New medicines.
Other than hydrocodone or codeine mixed with
when we had Tylenol with codeine, and then we switched to now everybody takes the Vicodin or the Norcos, all these kind of medicines that are the more of a stronger narcotic. So what's happening is maybe we're just priming the pump so people will need it longer.
But that's part of the money machine.
I'm just amazed that when somebody comes in with a prescription that they were given 90 pills, and like I said, many of those disappear. What I mean is that you have a headache, here are some of my pills. Here's some of my pills, and maybe you're really allergic to them and you take the pills anyway. There's so many reasons that people take too many. I think probably it's the prescriber, like myself, that give out too many.
I think you're pretty fair. I think because you're also a private practitioner. You're not held by like a big industry agency.
No, yeah. I mean,
you don't have any overhead. You don't have somebody like that you have to answer to. You have your own.
Well, I think
practice.
Most doctors don't have to answer to, but I think sometimes to talk about politics, myself, I don't really interact with drug representatives because I think, every one of those people that come to your office, they make $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And they give you samples, they give you free dinners and free this and free that. I say just lower the cost of drug.
Right.
Just make the best drug possible and lower the cost so people can afford it.
Yeah, but that would mean you actually care. I think you're a little outnumbered these days in what is actually out there.
I think so. I think I'm just an oddball.
Yeah. You're not a Pez dispenser. I call them Pez dispensers.
That's right. That's good. That's good.
The doctors is just like, go in, get your checkup, get your pill.
Yeah,
it's a Pez dispenser.
Vicodin Pez dispenser. That's perfect.
Yep. They're all Pez, most of them. I'm not saying all. The majority are these days, and it's really rare to find a practitioner that still has the integrity they're holding on to and is not being run by the machine.
Right.
So if you need that kind of doctor, please go find one. If you're here in Santa Clarita, come to Dr. Jenkins. Amazing. We're so lucky to have you.
And I'll give you 2 Vicodin.
He'll only give you a week.
Every day you have to come
back. A
week
for it. You have to come back. Yeah.
But and the problem, like I'm talking about these huge prescriptions that some doctors give to patients, it's amazing that they give out that many. And then sometimes you get a phone call. Dr. Jenkins, I was on an airplane and I lost my medicine. That somebody got in my baggage on my vacation, took my meds. And I tell patients, don't take all your meds while you're on trip. Don't take your whole bottle.
I do. I take my medication with
Just
me.
take enough for the trip. Take enough for the trip so that way you have enough when you're there, but it won't get somehow disappears out of your purse. And
you know why I've taken my prescription bottles with me on an airplane, though, is that I fear that if I have like random pills, they're going to wonder about that when they look through my bag as opposed to when they see the prescription.
Just make sure the bag gets shipped.
No, but if they see the prescription on there, then they know that that's what that is.
Copy the name. Take a picture of the prescription. Say, this is what these are. I've never had any patient get stopped and they take away their meds or anything if they're prescribed.
Okay.
How long they're prescribed.
So what were you saying about that? They say that they lose their pills.
Yeah, they call them somehow.
These are people trying to get more.
The dog ate them.
The dog ate
them. Somebody knocked him in the toilet. And it's never the things like, the blood pressure medicine.
Well, what happened to me 2 weeks ago? I lost 2 physical prescriptions you'd written out for me. Well, literally lost the papers.
Paper, yeah. Well, then that never showed up.
Well, yeah, because they were never filled.
It was never used.
Because I lost the papers.
The people that sometimes they have big prescriptions, they take the whole thing and it disappears. And I tell them not to do it. And also, it's that group of people that are addicted to them are the same ones that may lie to the doctor. And they'll say, oh, it went down the toilet or whatever happened to it. But like I said, it's never the potassium pill or the blood pressure pill.
Right.
It's always the
good stuff.
Always the addictive medicines that happens to. I joke with the office sometimes. Oh, look, they lost their potassium prescription. Yeah, give them as many as they want.
Blood pressure medication. Got to get that refilled right now.
Yeah, but
no, it's like, oh, I lost my Percocet. Got to get more of that.
That's what it is. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Well, but nowadays, and please now talk about that chart that we were talking about. Nowadays, you can pull that up. So what happened to us a few weeks ago is I wrote you saying I need a new prescription because I lost the paper version of it. All you had to do was go on my chart and see that was never filled to then realize, that was never filled. I will re-prescribe
I think I got the message right before I came over here, so I didn't really act on it correctly at the time.
Okay, well, no. Regardless, you can look at my chart and see that it was never filled.
That's right.
So, talk about the chart for people.
Well, what happens is that by federal law, and then in our state we have California Department of Justice, they have the website where providers can log on and see all the meds that are in a certain class. They don't see the amoxicillin. They don't see the birth control pills. They see the meds we're talking about tonight.
Oh, so it's only the
things that are addictive
ones.
Yeah, and they have 5 classes. Class 1 is basically like LSD and those kind of drugs that we don't use much. And then class 2 are all the medicines we talked about today.
Okay.
The other ones, and they have certain prescribing requirements and certain kind of licenses you have to prescribe those.
So you have to be an MD
Well, you have to have a certain kind of license from the DEA. You have to have training in certain
like a
medicines.
specialist.
Right, yeah. So like for me, I can prescribe for like Suboxone. That's one we talked about earlier.
What's that for?
That's for methadone and heroin addictions.
Okay.
And you have to take certain classes for it and get certificates for it. I very seldom use it because my type of people, because of my office, are not. They're not
But it
nervous.
basically allows you to work with treatment centers to be the prescribing MD on
Right.
staff that
Or
can
patients-
come in and give methadone.
And some patients are on methadone and they take one pill every month or one pill every week, whatever plan they are. And they've just done that, just like methadone. They take Suboxone. Is you take that forever because you won't be addicted to it again.
Okay, yeah. So you have to have like a special class to be able to be
Right.
that
Yeah, they have
prescribing doctor.
special training for it.
Which
And
is
then-
why you do it for,
A bunch of places, yeah.
right, okay.
Mostly for VRC is a good one, and Action is another one.
Valley Recovery Center.
Hope of the Oaks, Valley of the Oaks. Can't remember what it's. Valley of the Dolls or something like that.
Valley of the Dolls.
But,
Okay, go ahead.
But they lose those meds. But sometimes what happens is that they'll take those medicines, and when they start misusing them, they'll want to get some euphoria. They want to get a high from it, so they'll grind up the pills and snort them, or they'll grind up the pills and they'll smoke them.
Why is that a better high?
Because they get more euphoria from that way because it's absorbed faster.
Okay, so I know from my essential oils training, my aromatherapy, I'm such an apothecary from another life. And you know what? At the end of the show today, I'm going to bring that in as an alternative. It's an alternative to these opioids. It's an alternative to these drugs. Essential oils are amazing, and they have all these properties that can so benefit every part of our lives, every facet of ourselves, emotionally, physically, physiologically. So I will totally end on that note today as like an alternative for people. It's not homeopathy. Essential oil is just so basic. It's the stuff from the earth that's derived from plants, flowers, roots, things like that. Okay. Anyway, what I know from my apothecary training is that the fastest way something is absorbed into your body is through the pulse points on your skin, actually. So when you sweat, it's on your wrists, it's behind your ears, it's the bottom of the neck.
I see when people they try different colognes
your
and
forehead, your
perfumes, they'll
temples.
do it that way. I see when people try perfumes or try them out, they'll put it on their wrist and smell it and put
Right.
them behind your ear. And
It's true. Well, so those are your pulse points. That's the place you secrete your own chemical substance. And we talked about pheromones.
Pheromones,
The
yeah.
pheromones come from the same regions. Okay. Those chemicals you send out that meet your match at the bar way before you've put your eyes on him or her, your pheromones have linked already. So these places, these pulse points, if you were to put some kind of drug substance on as if it were a perfume, that would penetrate your system faster than anything else. And I wonder often why they haven't realized that, the people in the drug world,
Yeah, I wonder.
snorting these things or...
yeah, they snort them or they smoke them.
Yeah, but the fastest way is actually through the pulse points.
Okay.
I just thought that was really an interesting... I've always thought
I'll
about
have
it.
to ask people next time. We'll make a little
Ask your
survey.
next drug addict, like what...
Like survey, yeah.
How do you get it in there?
Right.
Well, okay. So do you see a lot of addicts then? In people that are not proclaimed addicts that are in treatment that come into your office and literally try to either pull one over on you or people that you know really well and just prescribe these things to.
Right.
Do you have a big population of that?
No, not a big population.
Okay.
I have a few patients that I know have certain kind of problems, and we follow their meds, and we make sure that they're going to get better. I mean, they're going to take the medicine that's prescribed and not overuse them.
But you're not the type that if somebody new were coming off the street, you'd never seen them before, and they were saying, I have tremendous pain, like I can't even get out of bed, I have so much pain. And they're trying to get you to prescribe them a major pain medication, like an opioid. You wouldn't be the type to do that right off the bat, would you?
Well, I would
Without an
give,
exam?
I would give some for a day or two until I get the documents from the other office they've been to, because obviously they have to have some kind of scan done, CAT scan.
No, what if they say, Doc, I haven't had health insurance since I was 25 years old and went off my parents' health insurance. I haven't seen a doctor in 7 years, but I live with chronic pain every day.
Well, they're going to have to get the test done eventually. I mean, I'll give them enough for a few days to get the pain down.
Right.
But eventually they need the CAT scan or whatever.
They're not gonna go very far
Whatever it is.
with you,
Yeah,
basically.
that's right.
Without a...
If they've been having
An
pain for
exam.
all these years, then they think they would at least, while they were on their parents' insurance, get the scan or the test.
Okay, so now this brings in age. Is this a factor in these statistics? Which age group predominantly has the biggest issues with addiction and also with deaths per year?
It's the younger people. I mean,
18 to
not 18, but
25.
I'm thinking the people that are out working out of college, 25, 35.
Okay. What constitutes middle age these days? Is that still 40 something? You're like,
the wrong radio show for
nah,
this.
70 is the new 40.
We're going to have
apparently.
the KHTS staff here. Maybe somebody knows what the real middle age.
I actually hear like 60 is the new 40.
Oh, really?
Because people are living longer now.
People are living longer.
And they're more vibrant later in their years.
Some of them. Yeah.
A lot of them.
Sometimes I see patients my age and go,
People used to die at my age.
What happened to you? I think. You know?
Also, with plastic surgery these days, people can look as young as they feel.
I think
so.
that's a
And
good
these
idea.
drugs keep people going. I mean, let's talk about other prescription drugs for a second, besides the ones that can kill you.
Okay.
I'm just really grateful for modern medicine. I really am. Let's just forget for a second and put aside the fact that the FDA is also kind of the devil. With this machine that they've made with the money and the insurance and the pharmaceutical companies trying to drug us and keep us like zombies. But the other side of it is that modern medicine and technology and medication these days is just phenomenal. And I'm so grateful for it. My kid will have an ear infection that used to kill children. My kid will have whooping cough or, God forbid, I mean, he's never had RSV, but that's really scary sounding. But any kind of bronchitis, these things used to kill people. The common cold used to kill us. I have a cold right now. You know, the fact that I can go in.
You're going to be okay.
I'm going to live. But I also went on the Z-Pack when it was really bad a few days ago.
Yeah.
My son has an ear infection. I go to you or Valencia Pediatrics, and he gets amoxicillin, and his fever's down within an hour.
In a minute or so.
And he's getting better within a day, and it's great, and I'm so grateful.
Right.
You know, so there's this whole other flip side.
When we come back
to the
from our break,
chemistry.
when we come back from our break in a moment, we'll talk about medications for infections and things, and it's kind of interesting how the world changes.
Yes,
Because
it is.
you said they gave him amoxicillin for an ear infection, but we'll talk about that when we get back.
All right,
So,
penicillin.
this is Dr. Gregory Jenkins and Alicia Dukov. We're here on the Doc and
My Doc and Dukov.
My Doc and Doc
We'll
show.
be right
There we go. Almost got
back.
it right. Sorry, he's shaking his head at me. So why can't you remember that? But anyway, we'll be right back. We're on AM 1220. Please call us at 298-5487. Thank you.
All right, hi. So we're back. We got a few minutes left. Dr. Jenkins going to jump in and tell us about some overdoses.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
I've had some
he's witnessed.
unfortunate patients that overdosed on medicines, whether it was recreational or accidental, I don't always know. But I remember when I get the phone calls from the sheriff at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they say, Dr. Jenkins, we're at so-and-so's house, and they appear to be dead, and we found some paraphernalia. Will you write the death certificate?
Oh, how terrible.
And then are they? We found them dead. We don't know why they died. What do you think should be done? So I'll tell them what I think about the patient, and it's really sad on some of these people that get hooked on beds by mistake. You know, they have an injury that gets worse. They never can get it worked up and never can get it treated, or the people that are drug addicts. They're still people, and the last one I got, I was telling Justin on the break, was that I get a call at 2 or 3 o'clock from the sheriff saying, you know, do you have this patient? I says, yeah. She said, will you sign the death certificate? I said, what happened? Well, we found her slumped up in the bed and it looks like she may have overdosed on heroin.
Wow.
So I remember the patient so vividly, and how kind she was and how nice she was, and you know, things I didn't know that she used heroin.
That's terrible.
Yeah, but she's having a tough time with her life, and her ex had canceled the child support and got control of the child. So she never could really see the son very easily.
It puts people in so much pain.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. So this leads into what my little contribution to the show today could be, which is not only alternatives to these medications, like aromatherapy, but also getting into therapy. Getting into good old-fashioned therapy to talk out your feelings. Because honestly, a lot of the reason that we are led to these medications like opioids, is to combat the feelings of pain inside that we're trying to run from. It's just so painful to be in the body if you're going through a trauma, if you're going through a heartbreak, if you're going through anything that you feel like you just cannot breathe. You know, like that is just heavy in your heart. We want to run from that pain. These are just people that get into this because it's easier to get. It's a faster fix. It's an escape. And then they get that addiction. So, let me just run through a teeny little list here for you guys about aromatherapy. Things that come from the earth that will not kill you and will combat a lot of the issues why we go and run to these pills. One is for grapefruit. It's digestion. It's great for cleansing your skin. It's great for your whole body begins to like flow through. This energy comes out like through your body in a clear flow. Grapefruit is amazing for that. Grapefruit oil. Geranium for women with hormonal imbalance. So I take it on my period sometimes as well. It's fantastic. And oftentimes if I use that, I don't need as much Vicodin because the cramps are less. Rose for depression, guys. Rose oil for depression. Instead of going for that opioid, take some rose oil. Take that and inhale that. Put it on all your pulse points. Take a bath with it. Just douse yourself in that rose oil. It's amazing for depression. It heightens the feeling of euphoria in your being. So anyway, just little things like that, and I'll add the rest online. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Good day, folks. Thanks for listening.
Okay, see you next week.